I'm Shondra Jepperson,
And I'm Dev Ross.
and we are the writers of Hot Flashes on the Trail. Why did we create this show?
That's a really good question why we created the show. One, first of all, she nagged me to death. I did. I wanted to do a woman show. She nagged me to death. I mean, calls me 2 in the morning. Seriously. Do a woman show.
I had to remind her because she has hot flashes and she forgets.
It's true.
So
It's true.
I had to call you.
We have a great friendship, and how is that special? A lot of women have great friendships, deep friendships. And I thought, what if this friendship could be shown through the guise of other women's stories? And so Lori Mayberry at
Mayberry.
Mayberry, sorry, Lori, I always say it wrong.
I'm
Mayberry,
telling you, she's useless without me.
had come and said, I would love to do a melodrama at the ranch. And I was like, oh, that sounds really fun, right?
A melodrama. Hey, who doesn't love a
Who doesn't love
melodrama?
it? Well, me, actually. So, I started to write this melodrama, and I studied melodramas, and between going, oh yeah, I'm writing a melodrama. We came up with something I think pretty darn cute.
Right.
Shondra wrote some music to die for, and in the
And
middle
I
of
want
it,
you dying, by the way. I want you to celebrate when you hear this music.
Yeah,
and it's not just the music, it's the lyrics and the music.
Yeah.
There's songs.
Yeah.
I'm a
Okay.
songwriter.
she's a songwriter,
Right.
and she writes the music with the song.
Write the music and the lyrics, is what she's trying to say. Poor girl. Okay. Dev wrote the
In
most.
my mind, I just flipped her the bird, but
What do you think that this show is truly about? What's this show's message? I'm curious as to what you think.
oh, but a lot. I think that there's, I'm going to name it. Me Too comes up, and Shondra knows because when Me Too first came up in society, I got really triggered and needing to talk about it, needing to express myself. You go, okay, now what? And do we just want to go, this happened to me, or do we want to do something about it that is positive and doesn't target men, but says, look, this stuff happens, women are subjugated or victimized, and we can empower ourselves, we can choose to react differently. She and I had talked about Calamity Jane and
Annie Oakley.
Annie Oakley, and so I started doing research on them, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, their stories is so much like the intrinsic story of so many women in society. Annie Oakley and Calamity Jane, Martha Jane Canary, were real people with real issues, overcame terrible obstacles. They defined their lives and their fame in very different ways, and it was interesting. And so to flow from the melodrama into the more dramatic tale of these women, even though, you're going this way in the show and all of a sudden you take a sharp left turn, it just made the whole thing very interesting and so much fun to do, especially as an actress, because in the beginning you're doing comedy and by the end you're making people cry, and it's just a wonderful exercise in acting, and for me as a writer.
Now, we first start off, we are a traveling quartet.
We don't have our piano player or our 2 male actors, hence the show must go on.
Right. Then we decide that we're going to go ahead and play all the male parts.
Miss Missy can stay on the farm with me
As your servant!
as my wife.
Same difference.
A nasty disposition with ambition to live and keep.
How do you like singing the song Pitiful Gal? Because when I wrote that song, of all the people to sing Pitiful Gal, she's not a pitiful gal at all.
I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Poor, poor, pitiful gal, faded through eternity. It's that number we run on ourselves that tells ourselves that we're helpless.
Yeah.
We can't do things on our own when it's just, That's just a recording.
That's right.
And that's what that song reminds me of, is the tape that so many of us run about ourselves that are really, they're just a story, they're not true.
I wrote it as a commentary,
Yes.
and you do it so great.
I'm tired of being sheepish, but it's who I am and can't be tamed. Where's my hero here to save me? Riding high to free this waif. For I surely need a champion to give me refuge and keep me safe. Poor, poor, pitiful gal in fate eternity. Poor, poor, pitiful gal, didn't say the real money.
Now, listen up, Miss Missy. You have until midnight tonight to handle that deed to your farm, or else there's some train tracks with your name on them.
Oh, woe is me! Woe is me! I'm such a helpless, pitiful gal.
In this, the two characters change and actually empower each other.
Yeah, and I think that they really start from a point of, especially my character, of doing what's right, doing what looks right, doing what's acceptable, doing what I'm supposed to do, being the good girl. And she keeps rocking my boat and pushing me. No, well, maybe we don't have to do that. I'm like, oh, what do you mean?
Who says that all the heroes in our show have to be played by men? I mean, girl, where is it written?
Well, in your script.
Exactly. Well, I'm just tired of playing helpless females when the West was filled with women capable of rescuing themselves. Do I hear an amen?
Hey! So I say we rewrite this show and make it about take charge gals who might have been afraid,
But did it anyway. Yeah!
Is there another part of the show that you really like?
It's when you are Frank, when you're Frank Butler to my Annie Oakley. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I know.
I really truly believe that you're Frank.
Yeah, no, I'm having like a total, like, transference moment of being a man.
I, Frank E. Butler, on this beautiful Thanksgiving Day, do hereby challenge any gentleman in the audience to a sharp shooting contest. Do I have any takers? Contest!
I'll take you up on that challenge, mister.
But you're a...
Yes, a girl. I heard that before.
Now I was gonna say, pretty little filly.
Well, I may be pretty, but I'm a whole lot more. Let's get this contest started.
Sure.
Bullseye. Bullseye.
Do it again.
Bullseye.
Bullseye?
Bullseye. I'm gonna show her. I'm gonna corral this little filly.
Nerdy?
When I met Annie, I smelled potential. Quite a package of beauty, funk, and skill.
Her wealth and glory soon bruised my ego. When she made millions, it crushed me like a man. But I adjusted and chose the higher road to support, promote, and be her biggest fan. Girl, she's my rescue, time after night. So high, she's the woman I love in all the world.
It has a lot of comedy and it has a lot of dramatic pieces in it as well.
I was telling the story of how I would watch my mother, and one day she was crying and grinding Oreo cookies down the garbage disposal because she was eating away her frustrations, literally, or eating her frustrations. And she didn't want to eat these damn cookies, so she's grinding them down the garbage disposal. And I knew, I can't be like my mother. I have to go out there and do more than just what I know here. And then
Right, so Dev told me the story, and I knew that I wanted to make a contrast between what Annie was going through at home, watching her mother as her role model, and then making the choice to do something different. And I know that's what happened to you in your life, is you saw that and you said, that was a defining moment for you.
It was. I was in 6th grade.
Day to day, I hush and try, hide my fears, refuse to cry. And when I gaze upon my land, proudly then I understand. Like old trees, I bend and bow, so I keep my faith in what I know. In what I know. In what I know.
You and me, we ain't the same. I hear the wind calling my name. Like an eagle soaring high, stretch my limits, gotta fly. Like a stone that needs a throw, so to find my faith in what I know. In what I know. In what I know.
I love the monologues you wrote for me as Annie. Oh my gosh, those monologues. And you added a new one. I am so in love with that monologue. It's something that people don't know about Annie Oakley.
Yeah, it's a
And
surprise.
it's just so intense because we realize that for her, in this part of her life, everything changes. She's very successful, and then she has this really bad moment.
For Annie, that moment could have crushed her. And instead, she used it to grow stronger and then go on to even do greater things and more things.
The headlines read, Annie Oakley arrested. Annie Oakley is destitute. Annie Oakley is in a prison cell. I filed off letters to all the newspapers. Woman posing as Annie Oakley is a fraud. Contradict at once. It was a 6-year battle. I sued 55 newspapers in the largest libel suit the country had ever seen. And Hearst, he fought me tooth and nail. I lost everything fighting him. It nearly killed me. But it was worth it. I won. I cleared my name. And I was still setting records with my sharpshooting all the way up to the age of 66. That's when I went for my heavenly rest. Aim for the high mark, and you will hit it. No, not the first time, not the second time, and maybe not the third time. Keep on aiming and keep on shooting, 'cause only practice will make you perfect. And finally you'll hit the bullseye of success. Bullseye. Woo!
One of my favorites is, as you were talking about Calamity Jane, is I love the fact that you wrote an alter ego for her, because that is exactly what it was, right? She was this individual, and she created an image and a a whole other personality that we're more familiar with, that the public is more familiar with, but we didn't know.
Avatar.
I didn't even know
She
that
almost
she-
like created the first avatar. Like
Right.
kids today will create this avatar to represent themselves,
Right.
in games and the internet, whatever.
Yeah.
But she created a real life avatar of herself to represent herself or her highest self or the self that she wanted to be in society. So most of what most people know about Calamity Jane is all made up in her head.
If I was a scoundrel in Marlow, she mostly worked as a prostitute. So I up and moved myself to Wyoming territory.
Where my real adventures began.
Yeah, I mostly worked as a cook and a ox team driver and maybe some of what my mama done. Hey, y'all. I even made money as a dance hall girl.
Men used to pay me 25 cents just to dance with me. People said I was extremely attractive. A pretty dark-eyed girl.
Oh, hush up you. I wasn't pretty, not one bit. I was a tomboy, boyish, built for strength, wore a man's clothing too. Just look at the pictures, fool.
I was always with men when there was excitement and adventures to be had.
And alcohol!
I was a scout for General Gusta and I rode alongside General Crook on many campaigns.
Oh yeah, if you say so. Who wants to hear stories about me doing dishes in some brothel? You were the story folks wanted to hear.
You mean I was the story you wanted to hear. I was the you that you wanted to be, but couldn't.
Because I couldn't live in a world that didn't want me. A world where a woman could ride and shoot as good as or better than any man, but wasn't pretty like Annie Oakley. I couldn't live in a world where a woman like me only got a smell in her freedom. I couldn't live in that world. So I turned my back on them. I made up my own. I made up you.
So I have to ask you, what is your favorite part of Hot Flashes on the Trail?
Well, just a real quickie is when
Yeah.
I'm sweating and I ask you to fan me, like under my shirt.
I love
It's just like, because everybody, the women, I hear the women go, because we all know what that's like, to just like insanely incinerated from the inside out.
So much fun to sing the theme song with you.
We're two gals with hot flashes on the trail. Two gals, hormonal mademoiselles. With all this sweating and dripping, you think anyone could tell? We're two gals in a menopausal hell.
Dead children flushed and suffering.
Sleepless Cassie's pain and everything.
Constipated, did I say so?
Yes, you did. Stop paranoid with the gals with the flashes on the trail.
Till night sweats get our girdles in a fury, with an overwhelming fire deep inside. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm happy while I'm teary.
Confusion on about most everything.
Yeah. Like where I put my horse or park my surrey. My moods swing up and down like they're a swinging on a swing. We're two gals with hot flashes.